Alright, so the first thing you'll want to make sure of is that you have good fresh batteries in the remote. Marginal or low batteries can cause the remote to not program correctly, and they actually go right here underneath this cover right here, and it takes two AA batteries. There's some relevant information right here engraved into the plastic. This happens to be the model number and the code list version. This one is a CL6. You'll need to know that if you lose your code list, check the description for relevant links. Alright, so before we dive into this remote, I wanted to mention that it's a very basic remote. This remote is not going to have the directional arrow keys that you might need to navigate around like this remote does, or most other remote controls have, where you've got the 4 keys and the OK key in the middle. So if you need that kind of navigation, this remote might not work for you. So there are 2 ways to program this remote: the direct code entry and the auto code search. The direct code entry is going to be the easiest and the most common way, so we're going to start with that. So you'll need your code list that I mentioned earlier. Just find your brand in the list and take note of the first code. We're going to do a Sony TV, and for me the first code is 1071. Alright, so press and hold setup until the red light comes on. We're doing a Sony TV, so press TV. And then our code, 1071. Now you're going to want to test your code to see about the functionality of that. Volume, channel up and down, mute, input, whatever. See if those functions are working right. For me, the first code did work right, but if that doesn't work right for you, then you're going to want to move down the list to the second code and third and so forth until you've run out of codes. Alright, so let's do one more real quick. I'm going to do a Bose soundbar. Now even though this says CBL or cable, these buttons are not tied to what's on the label. You can program any device to any of these buttons, it doesn't matter. So same thing, press setup, cable, or sound in my case, and my code for the Bose is 0466. Alright, cool, that's working fine. Now, same thing as before, you're going to want to test the functionality of that code, move on down to the next code if it's not working right, and if it's not, that leads me to our next method. So the auto code search cycles through all the codes in the database to hopefully find one that works if the first method fails. Now if possible, you'll want to start with your TV turned on. Again, press and hold setup till the red light comes on. Press the device button that you want to use, so in this case we'll just do a TV, and then press power. Now if you notice, the light is flashing. What that does is it's going to send out a batch of 10 codes at a time. You'll want to keep the remote pointed at your TV or device the whole time, that way you don't miss the signal from the remote. Alright, so let's say nothing happened in that first batch of 10. Just push it again, we'll send out another batch of 10. Hey, the TV shut off in that second batch. Now, of course, we're going through the entire database. This is a hypothetical example. If your TV or device winds up at the end of the list, you might have to do this quite a few times. To cycle back through those last batch of 10, one at a time, just press the volume up button. Notice the light went out and came back on. Again. Now you can do this up to 10 times because we just sent out 10 codes. There's 3. There's 4. The TV shut off. Hit the device button that you originally pushed to save the code. Now again, you'll want to test your codes. Make sure that that code works. If it doesn't work the way you expect it to, do this again. This time stop on the second code that works because we already know the first one doesn't work. We just tried it. Now you can do any of your other devices exactly the same way. So that's about it. There's just a couple of other things I wanted to show real quick. For example, you can lock your volume control to your soundbar that you programmed in there if you did. So do that very easy. Press setup. We'll push cable since that's where we put our soundbar. We're going to lock it to that. Cable, mute, and volume up. Notice it blinked twice and went out. Now if you want to undo this, or if you want to restore the volume control back to the TV, just do the same thing I just did, except push mute and volume down at the end. And last but not least, if you feel like you've just messed something up and you want to start from scratch, you can do a factory reset. Press setup, mute, and 0. That's it. Hope this video has been helpful for you. Thanks for watching.